When last we left our intrepid adventurers, we were in Krosis' dreamscape after having gone through all that stuff. And our great reward for this quest was we get to tell Krosis things and he's actually going to listen to them. So this was a huge opportunity. Anyway, yeah, I had written out... I'd actually, long before I had discovered that this was going to be our official reward for the quest, I had been working on this list of things I was going to tell Krosis once we got out of this. I assumed it would be like we'd wake up and Cricket would storm out of the crazy hut and run down to Krosis and pounce on him and then start yelling these things in his face. But instead we got to talk to him directly in dream space. Pretty awesome. So since I had mine planned out, I went first, or Cricket went first, and it was full of all these passive-aggressive, backhanded shots at Krosis for how he's been trying to convince Cricket, not to be a domestic and all that kind of stuff. But the basic gist of it was telling Krosis that he had a purpose, and it was an absolute irrefutable purpose in life. She was drawing analogy to her own purpose in life and telling Krosis, I have purpose in life and I'm strong in that purpose, so I haven't broken like you have. So maybe you should look at your purpose in life and try to be strong in that purpose. So that was what Krosis latched onto from now on.
Yeah, from each thing he wrote down, the one sentence version of what Krosis was taking from
I had half a page of text, and he took this one, basically the word irrefutable purpose out of it.
I drew a Krosis.
Yeah.
But, I think he took into account what people said, but he also just wrote down the gist of each thing.
Yeah. So that was mine. I can't remember what the order was.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. I think the next one was Aurora told him that this isn't a dream. This is real life.
Because someone had to get to that.
Yeah.
So she got it.
May as well just get that out of the way. Yeah. There was a lot of... Everything was obviously very encouraging because Krosis is broken and PTSD. Wow, okay. Except for... Well, even then you...
some encouragement in it.
Yeah.
Only because I edited it before last session.
But also, Krosis, lately has been, feeling really depressed because the obelisk, which is, the closest thing the Ob would have to a god, basically told him he was worthless and should kill himself. So... He's been feeling not so great ever since then.
The closest thing Cricket had to a god said, "Hey, you're doing great." So, yeah. But anyway, I decided not to be smug about that in my little speech. But anyway, yeah, after, was it Hank next, I think?
Yeah, I don't remember. For some reason these are upside down, but...
I think it was Hank that was next.
Yes, Hank was next.
Yes.
That one was kind of funny because he started out, I think he didn't plan ahead.
Yeah.
And so he had something he wanted to say, and he just kind of rambled. And it got kind of more and more extreme as he rambled. Because, I think he was trying to...
The reason you survived was so that you could continue to do good things in the world.
Yeah, that was his basic thesis, that you're still alive so that you can do good. But he just kind of kept rambling, and by the end he came to he just kept encouraging him more and more and more extremely because he's been so down in the dumps. And he was like, you can, Krosis, you're alive because you can fix everything. And so then Krosis latched onto that and wrote down, I can fix everything.
Oh,
yeah.
No. Oh. Yeah. That was when we started to realize that perhaps unbreaking Krosis is going to be bad after all. But we'll see how it goes. So you have the list there?
Yeah, I'm just finding they're just kind of written. I just have photos.
Because I'm starting to run out of rememberies. Rememberies. Yes, that's a word. I own that word now. TM.
Serendipity told him, I don't remember how she all said it, but she said, it's your job to hold the line. That's what Oblin do. They hold the line. And until the chaos is gone. That's what the Oblin do. They hold the line until the chaos is gone. Yeah. So that's what he latched onto. I don't remember her whole speech.
Yeah.
Aurora gave a really rambling...
Yeah, there were two more that were combined ones. So it was going to be Hank and Serendipity, Vingle Strider, Aurora, Topper, Tower, Soul Strider, Doomdelayer, who were going to do one in tandem. And then there was one that Cricket and Aurora were going to do in tandem, which meant that Aurora got another one.
She kind of gave a long rambling one about how his friends gave their life to be law in a lawless place because those way shards are still there, bringing law to the chasm. and also something about like how friendship is important and da-da-da. But she like rambled on to about 3 different points.
Yeah.
So we decided that the one that was important was that he would keep was it's the Oblin and him, they bring law in a lawless place, and that's and they wanted to sort of shut the door on, like, he doesn't have to keep looking back and being like, oh, I let my friends down, or I need to go save them. They're bringing law to a lawless place, and now he's going to do the same.
So now we don't have to go into the chasm again.
Yeah, he's feels satisfied with the outcome that their hearts are bringing law in a lawless place. And then the final thing was, I think Hank said it. It was, but it was along the lines of, as far as getting out of there, and you're the only one who survived, and you feel like you failed all your friends. You didn't fail because you suck. You failed because it was impossibly hard, and no one could have done better than you. And so that was that one. Like, you don't have to feel like a failure. You just
did he explain that, like, even the whole party right now didn't do better?
I think it was
that was
like,
part of it. Yeah,
look at what we did.
We did way worse than you. No one could have done better.
Yep.
So that's he wrote down here. See that on this photo.
Really, you should blame the fairies. I was the one that didn't bring the Waystones back.
Yeah. So it wasn't.
I blame everyone but myself.
It wasn't a failure of his skill or strength or oblinness. It was just impossible. So yeah, it was great. And Tim was like, yeah, so you guys said, you can fix everything. No one could have done better than you. It's your job to hold the line. Yeah, Krosis isn't going to come out of this arrogant at all.
Middle ground, Krosis, middle ground.
Well, we'll have to see. I mean, we'll have to describe it, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone was had very strong, encouraging, or,
I wasn't encouraging.
Well, still.
Yeah.
And
there was encouragement to be had in what Cricket said. Even though she phrased it as a reasons you suck speech. It was...
Nobody else require wet naps?
I don't want these.
I'll need one eventually. So then they woke up.
Yeah.
And because Hank had the Hank had the 2 way shards that de-chaosified him, he didn't even have to get double crazy. So everyone just woke up where they were. So there were already 2 people in the crazy hut, and they woke up in the crazy hut. And the rest of the people didn't end up in the crazy hut. And
place for everything and everything.
Aurora woke up and went to Serendipity and told her about, she had this horrible dream where she bit Cricket's ear, and it was all weird. Serendipity realized she'd had the same dream. So they ran down to the crazy hut to talk to... Aurora went to the crazy hut to apologize to Cricket.
As soon as Aurora and Cricket saw each other, they were like, "I'm so sorry! Oh, I'm so sorry! Oh, I'm so sorry!"
Serendipity ran to check on Krosis, but he'd woken up early and went for a walk. So
went for a walk.
So they returned to the crazy hut and were talking, and Cricket and Hank, they both rolled their saves, so they came out of their craziness during the morning. And Krosis eventually walked in while they were all there, and he told them, wow, I feel great. Man, that glade, I don't know, it doesn't seem to work. I didn't have any dreams, but I feel great. I feel like I have an irrefutable purpose in life.
Yeah, he basically rambled off the sentence that incorporated all of the megalomaniacal things that we had implanted. It was, and then we were like, oh no.
Yeah. Although I think you're kind of exaggerating, because I think he was basically better, but perhaps a bit overconfident. Yeah. Right? Like, he was just so different. Yeah. Not broken at all. He was like, let's get on with, we don't have to fritz around. Let's get on with our quest to, stop that thing that's going to end the world. And let's go do it, because I can fix everything. So yeah. I'm sure he'll dial it back a little bit as we progress in our campaign and have our usual level of success at things. It will temper his.
You'll just have to go on another quest to deal with this now.
But for the most part, he seems just to be kind of confident, and he knows about his irrefutable purpose in life, and you know, what he's gonna do, and I think he's way better. Like he's not really a different kind of crazy. I would say he's better, but just overconfident now. But I thought it was pretty cool just how it all played out, because it's kind of a neat idea to, you know, you're basically allowing the character that you're going to play for the rest of the campaign to be just shaped by what some other people said, right? And he's very clearly, you know, essentially using that as the building blocks of Krosis' new character.
Yeah.
That's kind of an interesting...
I just can't imagine playing a character that's completely under the control of the other party. Like, how do you express yourself and all that? Anyway.
And, you know, I mean, I think he had some idea of what people would say, but ultimately not completely, right?
Yeah.
And he's just sort of running with what the new character is now.
He did pick specific lines out of the long rambling speeches, so there was some degree of control there. And you could tell, you know, when he saw certain lines, he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to take that one." Irrefutable.
Yeah, because he originally had written "I have a purpose in life," and then he read the physical copy of his and saw that he had bolded "irrefutable." So he's like, "I'm adding irrefutable purpose."
Yeah. It was just direction to me that I was supposed to emphasize that word when I got to that one. Anyway, so yeah, then the mystical and noble elven word.
Yeah, it's been so long that they'd forgotten about him.
Yeah, we've forgotten about him.
They all just start giggling again, and he just rolls his eyes.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Yeah.
Hail Lord Elvenword.
He shows up, and we speak to him briefly about.
Spelled with a Y.
Yeah. Elven word.
Elven weird.
Yeah.
That's no better.
That's so weird. That's no better, right?
So yeah, he wanted to talk to us about our visions and whatnot.
Krosis told him that his glade was broken because he didn't have any dreams.
Yeah.
And he hypothesized that perhaps because he was all in a dream, then the dream that he had in a dream didn't work. And that's when Krosis started talking about how he used to believe that, but he started to think, you know what, I think I've realized that this is all real.
Yeah.
This isn't a dream. So, yeah, I don't know, your glade's broken. See you.
And so we were out of there because we're sick of these elves.
Not before he gave you the...
oh, right, the soy drink.
Yeah, the special soy drink for to take with you on your journeys.
Yeah.
Does it taste like Cheerio milk?
It was organic soy drink. Soylent isn't organic. Yeah, this organic soy drink that they were supposed to take on their journey. And
I pointed out that this stuff, Soylent doesn't refrigerate well. It doesn't last.
Everyone thought this was just like the bark jerky or whatever. Though Elvenward hadn't tried to troll them with that. That was the random soldier who would convince them to eat bark jerky. But Hank just chugged his because he thought it was stupid.
Yeah.
But
it turns out it had some beneficial
if you drink it during a short rest, you can recover one daily.
So Hank had to get another one.
He took Kylinar's because Kylinar refused it because he didn't want any hippie crap.
Anyway, so then we had to decide, okay, we're now back on the main quest line again, but how exactly will we go about this?
Right.
The plan has been...
back.
Well, we're already back. We're in the past already.
But you took a pit stop, or you had to act the time when you're supposed to be?
This is, when we went into the past, this is where we landed. And so we just sort of fell into this particular side quest because that's where our landing point was.
Right, I've forgotten all about that.
Yeah, and so now we're what was it, 20 years in the past-ish?
Forget exactly.
I think it was about that.
I think it's might be more like 15 or 16. It's right at the end of the war.
Okay, the end of the war was around 16 years ago, so...
It's probably like 17 years. I don't remember exactly. I have it written down.
Okay.
It's just before the war ends.
Right.
It's like probably a year before the war ends.
Yeah, so we're looking at the map, and Kalinar is telling us where his party was at the time. They're up in Valneva?
Valneva.
Valneva.
Yes, Valneva.
Valneva, which is the city where we first met Kalinar and got the box. It's way up north. At the north end of the chasm. And so Kalinar says, okay, we're up in Valneva. And then we went down along this route, and we did a couple side quests along the way. We went to this lost city of Scions, and we fought a bunch of monsters and got a bunch of treasure. it had nothing to do with saving the world from the void.
It was just on the way.
We were just on the way, so we did that.
They had to avoid the front lines of the war, so they had to go by the weird geothermal island, and that's where there's the lost city of the Scions is over there. So they're like, we may as well stop here.
Yep, and then they fought a huge monster, and they looted a bunch of treasure, because that's what you do when you're on a quest to save the world.
And they had just finished a side quest to get, I think it was Benadonner, I think. It was another bone of the earth that someone had stolen. They recovered it and returned it to the vault, the secret vault under Valneva that has all the bones of the earth that they haven't been able to destroy.
Once again, a side quest unrelated to saving the world, but they're high-level adventurers and it came across.
They knew about the main villain of their campaign was the void creatures, and they had just learned where, after that side quest, they learned exactly where they were summoning the end of all things. So they went to head off there, and then they just popped by the Scion City on the way.
It's Alan Way, of course, is where they're summoning the void monster. So anyway, we were debating whether we should go to Valneva and meet them there, or if we should intercept them at the side quest location, the Scion City, or if we should meet them in Alan Way itself. And I argued very much against meeting them in Alan Way itself, because that's a bit late. There's already void monster stuff going on there. It'll be more dangerous in terms of disrupting the timeline if we have to explain this to them while we're fighting void creatures.
Also, their whole campaign has been about fighting doppelgangers and stuff. Yeah. So when two identical copies of them show up in the city where all the doppelgangers come from, it may harm their case.
Yeah. So we decided ultimately.
Is the plan to actually talk to them and tell them what the situation is?
The plan was all over the place.
Okay.
Different people had different ideas of what the plan was, and it had never gelled. One of the things it's always one of these tricky things when you're jamming, but I had always had Kalinar say we're just gonna meet up at the party. We'll figure out what to do.
Tell them everything, and we'll save everyone, and
everything will be
awesome.
Great. And the party had always just I'd dangled that several times, and the party had always been clearly thinking, smile and nod, thinking, nope, we're not doing that. But no one had ever broke it to Kalinar, so that was still the plan in his mind. And it's tough because it's would they have talked about that off camera? I don't know. So I just tried to dangle it a lot of times, and they never bit. So I was like, nope, that's the plan. It
seemed I started to feel like it was a running gag rather than an actual serious we need to explain this to him. And so ultimately that did bite us. And it's fair. On the one hand, it sort of feels like in reality we probably would have, after months of Kalinar going on like this, said something. Or alternately, he would have picked up on us, making these plans about okay, now we have to do this, but we have to make sure we don't touch anything else like that. But still, considering how our party handles planning, I think it's entirely fair to give this one. So we went to this city, the lost city of the Scions. I don't know if you recall from world building, the Scions are a separate race in this world. In order to be a Scion, you have to, or the class, you have to be the race. And they had this city on this island, and it got nuked by a volcano, Pompeii style. Except it was a weird sort of non-buried Pompeii.
They got hit by some kind of crusty ash cloud, and they all just got
coated,
encased in ash. And
there's all these people standing around. It's just ash molds.
And they're hollow inside because they incinerated inside. So they're just basically a bunch of casts of people going. So we got to the city a couple of days ahead of Kalinar's party, and Kalinar had said, okay, we went into the city, and we were smashing casks to get the treasures inside. No, that doesn't really matter, but they weren't doing that because they wanted to do that, but Rook wouldn't let them.
Right, Rook is a Scion that was in the party, and he was all no, be respectful to my dead people. And they were okay. So...
But anyway, that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, so Serendipity, Goldstrider, Moore, Topper, Tower, Subsoul, trying to find a Doom Layer, of course, took from this story, there's treasures inside those casks?
Well, they did end up smashing some as part of so they said that they went into the city to explore around, they got attacked by a huge monster, and it could, it had psionic powers, and it was hurling the dead casts of the bodies at them, which really sucked. And after they killed it, a bunch of them had broken open and they had magic items inside. And they wanted to break open more, but Rook wouldn't let them. But they got some magic items. And then they're like, oh, magic items inside the...
That was what serendipity, Vengelstar, Mortalber, Tower Ship, Soul Side of Time, Doom Lair took from that. What Cricket took from that was go inside the city, get attacked by giant Scion monster that was a challenge for a much higher level party. So Cricket was all like, let's not go inside the city, everyone. And everyone was all, we want to go inside the city for various different reasons. So, yes.
They had I think it was 3 to 4 days.
We had way too many days.
Before,
you don't give this party that many days of free time. They will ruin everything. So Krosis decided he had to bury all the dead bodies.
Which was really a thinly veiled ruse for Tim wanting to go into the city.
Yes. Yeah.
But Krosis did say that he wanted to set everything straight in the city because he can fix everything. You know, let's bury all the dead. That's fixing it.
Yeah.
Bury them in the, what's he call it? The good earth.
Yes.
Burying them in the good earth.
Dig holes and put them in the good earth. And so, yeah, we managed to convince Krosis not to actually go inside the city. There were some dead people outside the city, and we were like, okay, we can get everyone that's outside the city walls. I guess it has walls, right?
I was actually imagining that the walls had mostly fallen, so you guys were like near kind of a courtyard that didn't have a wall.
I still formed a barrier, like a line, you could say.
Yeah, there was like buildings.
This is inside the city, this is outside.
Yeah.
It's not like there's suburbia.
There were some areas that were accessible that weren't really like out inside the city. Because inside the city, they'd seen weird psionic effects going off too.
Oh yeah, they're like
hovering
buildings,
buildings orbiting each other in the center, and a bunch of the cast corpses appeared and then disappeared, and a variety of psionic effects. There was one point where these 5 casts of adolescent kittens just slowly orbited the city past them. They buried them.
So, we managed mostly to wait without incident. It was a challenge. It was one of the greatest challenges our party has faced. The only greater challenge I can think of is coming up when we had to talk intelligently to someone without making a mess of things. But anyway, so...
Every day that they slept there, though.
Oh yeah, the volcanoes.
The first day they were like, they're like, you know what, I really don't like volcanoes. And after 2 days they were like, I hate volcanoes. And by the end they were just terrified of volcanoes and dreading having to fly back over the volcanoes in order to get to Allenway.
All this psionic afterimage stuff.
Yeah, a whole city full of scions had died thinking, volcanoes! We shouldn't have built near the volcanoes! Volcanoes suck! I hate volcanoes! And so there was all this mental energy about hating and fearing volcanoes emanating from the city. So now the party really hates and fears volcanoes. Yeah. It'll wear off when they leave. But
which is for the best. Because, it's ridiculous having a vendetta against a hole in the ground. Dedicating your life to fighting a hole in the ground. It's ridiculous.
Also, the party has enough psychoses.
Yeah. Cricket is perfectly sane. I don't know what you're talking. Oh yeah, right before Kalimar's party was going to arrive, Hank and Krosis went out on another corpse retrieval routine. Cricket and Aurora have been busy digging the holes. We've been sort of segregation of women. We sent the 2 big burly fighter types out to go and collect the bodies while the Bard and the Star digging the holes. It just occurred to me how ridiculous that is. So Krosis and Hank went out on a corpse collection run.
Further than ever before. But Tim kept trying to find excuses for them to go slightly into the city. But serendipity, or more accurately, Tim's wife, pointed out that he was lawful and shouldn't break his promise. So he didn't.
But they still got close enough to trigger some sort of weird sonic effect that wound up teleporting them to the other side of the city. It's still outside the city, but they were on the other side of it. And that's when Kalinar's party showed up.
So they spotted them first because they came from that direction.
Krosis and Hank hopped on their bronze griffins, their tricked out 80s style bronze griffins, and started flying up to go and meet Kalinar's party, because we don't really need a plan to talk to them, right?
Right.
So the Jenga tower comes out, because it's time. It's going to be important what we say to these people and how we say it. So Krosis and Hank fly up to meet them. As they're flying up, the rest of us, I think, did we spot this at this point?
I think so. Someone spotted it.
And so Cricket and Aurora are frantically screaming at the top of their lungs, come back, we have to be reasonable and think about all this and not just say whatever comes to our minds. At which point Serendipity, Vingolstar, Moore, Topper, Tower, Shepherd, Soul Strides, Time, Doomdelayer, the rational one of the group, remembered that we have those sending stones and don't have to scream at the top of our lungs, and got in contact with Hank and Krosis.
Wasn't the activation word psh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little burst of static.
Yeah, so they had a little chat.
Yeah.
Though there was a low-level interference of people far away screaming about hating volcanoes whenever they were using it, but it worked out fine. It was easy enough to ignore.
It's like those phantom voices on the line you used to hear back in the day.
So what we wound up doing is Hank and Krosis invited them down to our camp for some food.
Okay.
Oh, Kalinar's party. They're flying around on these giant dragonflies. Which I assume are another magic item, one of the wondrous item things.
Wondrous figures.
Yeah, and
I like how they reflect your own party.
yeah, and it was who was it? Was it Serendipity, Vingolstar, Moore, Top to Tower, Shepherd, who started getting all envious of their dragonflies?
People were like, dragonflies, those are so much cooler, they're way prettier.
And I pointed out, these aren't just bronze griffins. These are, tricked out lowrider bronze griffins with neon undercarriage that we got from the dawn of time, from the height of the Ood Empire. They're way better than those dragonflies.
That seemed to satisfy people. I think Hank and Krosis did interact with them first, though, didn't they?
Yeah, they did talk with them a bit.
Hi, we want to, they kind of hovered far enough away and just started talking to them.
Yeah, just introduced themselves. And then we invited them down for dinner, I guess.
Tea and crumpets.
Tea and crumpets, yes.
They were very cautious. They landed, but they stayed on their dragonflies.
Yeah.
And I guess this is when most people first saw the whole party. There was Aurora, of course, and she looked just like Aurora, except she had way cooler gear and was very glowy. There was Kalinar, and he looked like a younger version of Kalinar, but he also just he had a different kind of look about him. The Kalinar they know is sort of has kind of a cynical look all the time, but young Kalinar was bearing a huge smile, and he looked just like Errol Flynn. He was just totally the dashing, roguish kind of guy, which they wouldn't associate with Kalinar at all.
And then there was the Warforged.
There was a Warforged named Melvin, and then there was the Scion named Rook. The Scions all have varieties of super brightly colored skin. He was bright orange, and it was obvious he had owned this garishness by the fact that his costume, his outfit was completely bright green. So he was completely bright green and bright orange. Someone realized that he was a pumpkin, so...
So as they approached, they spotted our Kalinar and our Aurora, and they immediately went on doppelganger alert, and I immediately shouted at them, "Doppelgangers don't work that way! They destroy the original, remember?" And that took them back a notch from full doppelganger alert, because they realized, wait a minute, doppelgangers don't work that way. Something else is going on here.
I think they knew that, but the big thing that did was tell them, these people know a lot about doppelgangers. They know that we are fighting them. What?
Yeah. At which point, everyone started talking at once about everything.
Did they?
I seem to recall that. Oh, first we did the grenade thing.
I think you guys managed to prevent that from happening because someone said that we are you from the future. That
was Hank. Hank was the one that told them. And I don't really begrudge him that. We would have probably had to tell them that. We're from the future. That explains basically everything. But I do recall there was a point where everyone started their standard, as our party does. We're talking with someone where it's very important that we control what we tell them. And then everybody starts going on about we're in a dream. It's no, we're
I don't really remember that happening this time. I thought you managed to get it down to
something caused us to drop 5 Jenga blocks, and I think it was mostly that.
No, because there was that, and then there was another Jenga block for Kalinar said we're gonna team up with you and prevent all the horrible things from happening. That pulled a Jenga block.
Yeah.
Then I think that's really it, and then they conversed, and they decided to have I don't know if you suggested or whatever, but to have this one-on-one meeting.
Yeah.
One person from their group, one person from your group met. I think the only thing that had happened before that was Kalinar saying, we're going to stop all the horrible things from happening.
So yeah, it still though was a risk because our party does that. Our party just starts yammering. And yeah, we ended up doing a one-on-one thing instead, where each party sent one person to go and talk together.
I think people were sufficiently afraid of the Jenga tower that I thought there was remarkable restraint this time. Except from Kalinar, who no one ever told to restrain himself.
Yeah. So Cricket went as the party representative.
And he's a leader.
And I think it was Rook. It was Rook, the scion from the other party, was their representative. And I explained to him, yes, we are from the future, and because of that, there's very little we can actually tell you, because it's very dangerous, tampering with the past. And I sort of gave him a bit of a rundown. I didn't explicitly say there's a Jenga tower, but I told him about how if we say things that will tamper with the past, it will cause a catastrophe. And what we're here to do is very subtly tweak the outcome of the fight with the Void Monster to make things turn out a bit better, but in a subtle way.
So he thought about it for a long time, and then he finally said, I see two possibilities. One is that you're lying to try to trick us. No, he's probably started the other way. One is that you're telling the truth, in which case we should believe you and not ask any further questions. The other possibility is that you're trying to trick us, but we can't ask any questions in order to determine that. So here's what we're going to do. First off, we're going to test to make sure do an extra test to make sure you're not doppelgangers. We have these grenades that we created for the final battle that do massive damage to void creatures, but only tiny damage to other people. So you're gonna detonate them on yourself, or one on yourself. Then we're gonna interview Aurora one-on-one with us, and we're not gonna ask anything about the future, just the past. Prove that it's her. Then we're going to interview Kalinar one-on-one with us. And then we will determine that you are not doppelgangers, but that you must be us from the future because you know stuff about us. And that was his,
And so we agreed with that. We agreed to that. So we took the grenade and went and blew ourselves up with it.
That drew 2 Jenga blocks.
Because they had a limited number of those.
They only had 6, and they used them all during the final dungeon.
So now the final dungeon is going to be harder for them because they've used one of their consumables. We asked them, how do you make these things? Maybe we can make a replacement. And they were like, oh, you have to go on this side quest to get Udontavium. Udontavium is a necessary component of it. So yeah, they were like, oh crap, okay.
Was it actually called Udontavium?
That was the word John used, but I'm sure it was not.
Yeah, I just said they have to go for components, and then as we were going out the door after the session, someone's like, well, maybe I have it, and I was like, no, they used Udontavium.
So then, I think it was Hank. I was like, oh, well, it's okay, because after we've saved the day, we'll have a lot of spare time. We'll go and get the components, make a new grenade, and hide it right over there. And he went to find it, and no, there wasn't. No Bill and Ted escape clause this time.
So they were about to have their interview with Aurora.
There's one other thing that's been forgotten, though. The other party member of theirs that isn't with them right now.
Yeah, they had mentioned that they had a previous party member, but she husked on the side quest they just got finished from. She was like, you know how it is. You're like first level and 20 years old, and like a year later, because you're in an adventuring party, you're like epic level. But then she turned 21 and she husked. Because on your 21st birthday, you have a 1 in 100 chance of turning into a lifeless husk, and your soul goes somewhere else and becomes a clash jar with someone. That's just part of this world.
It's part of the world.
Okay.
It's just one of those things that happens,
Okay. 1 in 100?
Yeah.
Yep.
So this happens all the time.
Oh yeah.
There's most cultures have like traditions around your 21st birthday. You get tied down all day, because the other thing is, it didn't used to be like this. It didn't used to be like this, but when it first happened, you would just die, and then your soul goes and becomes a clash jar with someone. Clash jar being a 2-souled person. But then later there was this thing where this Corbland created his tower, and everything dead zombifies instantly. Now that's mostly been solved, but the husks still zombify instantly. So when you husk, you turn into a monster and then attack everyone. So of course she was like an epic level husk, so it was a huge fight. But normally that's part of like your 21st birthday ritual. They tie you down, and big chance that you turn into a horrible zombie and then they kill you.
But you can drink afterwards, so...
But it's not quite as bad as you dying because they know that your soul is going and living on somewhere else. They just have no idea where.
It's going and intruding itself on somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like, okay, so this just happened to the... Kalinar was telling us that this had just happened to the party. They just lost a party member in a horrible way. So, you know, be, like, considerate. They'll be all glum and stuff. We weren't very considerate, but...
Well, someone was going to say something rude, and they're like, no, I wouldn't actually say that.
Yeah.
But Hank... after this whole interaction, sidles over to Kalinar. It's like, this is just weirdly... It's just everything about this seems weird. What was the name of the person, of your party member? It's like, why does...
Yeah.
Why does that matter?
Yeah.
And he's like, just tell me who it was. He's like, oh, well, her name was Dastria.
Yeah.
Hank was like, I rolled a bluff check to not react.
Yeah.
And then I rolled a check for Kalinar, and I was like, Kalinar didn't notice.
Kalinar has an infinite bluff score.
Kalinar
Yeah.
sidled over to Aurora and was like, does the name Dastria mean anything to you? And she was like, I don't remember what she said to that, but then she somehow ended up talking to him about how I know that, like, in our past party, clearly you and Aurora had some kind of relationship and you want to rekindle that, and I know you're really excited about that, but it's just not something that I'm interested in. It's not going to happen. I hope you're okay with that. And so I rolled a check for account, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's totally okay with that. He was like, oh yeah, I'm totally fine with that. Yeah. And then he left.
Once again, infinite bluff score. And then Aurora was all like, oh, I was so worried he was going to take that poorly. But, you know, obviously he's not bluffing. He's totally taken that well.
So he went back to Hank, and essentially he got out of Hank that Hank is a Clash Tower with is Dastria.
And now he was all excited. Oh, I gotta go and tell the others where Dastria wound up.
Yeah, so...
And that was when...
Before anyone could do anything, and because no one had told him not to wreck time, he was like, hey guys, I just found out where Dastria is. Look, she's back. And that was where the session ended.
Yeah, with a Jenga pull. But yeah, we're gonna take Kalinar aside and be like, no, here's how time works. There's this pile of wooden blocks, you see. But yeah, so the interviews with Kalinar and Aurora haven't happened yet. Presumably that'll happen at the beginning of next session.
Which Kalinar figured this stuff out? Young Kalinar?
Older Kalinar.
Parties have separated from each other to avoid cross-contamination. They've been very careful. I think past Aurora ended up talking to future Aurora. They were both very amicable.
What we got to do next? These guys have to go and fight the psychic monster in the city.
Yeah.
They have to go do that.
And they don't know about that.
No. We'll basically tell them, okay, you have to go into the city and do what you were going to do without having met us, which was go into the city and look for whatever it was you were looking for. Well, why were they in that city? Was it just like, hey, there's a lost city, we're adventurers?
Yeah, it was on the way, so they were like, cool, let's explore this weird place.
So yeah, we'll tell them, the timeline says you went and explored that city, so you gotta go explore the city. We'll wait here. Fortunately, burying all those corpses didn't cause any Jenga blocks to pull, so presumably they weren't involved. And then after that, we're going to head to Alanway and do the final battle with the Void Monster. And what we have to do is somehow arrange for our Aurora to replace past Aurora. And hopefully all we have to do is just explain to them that the thing we need to change is we need our Aurora to be in place of your past Aurora.
At the final moment.
At the final moment. And that's all that we need to change. And we'll help out as best we can with the fighting. We used one of your grenades, so it'll be good to balance that.
They've got a week until they have to fight the Void Monster. And their Jenga tower recovers 1 block per day. So they can pull up to 7 blocks during this altercation without jeopardizing the final mission. So far they pulled 5.
Hopefully we'll have sorted out our cacophonous calling all over each other, talking about stuff, and we won't pull any more blocks that way.
3 of them were probably unavoidable. 2 of them were Kalinar's fault.
Yeah.
I mean, he gave you the bone of the...
Yeah, but he doesn't
your,
understand how it works.
He doesn't know it. He just knows it allows time travel. He doesn't know anything about it. I mean, he's a sword mage, but he's mostly about the roguish side of things. He's not much with the spells. And plus, I mean, no one knew about it until they actually tried it, right? Like, they had to learn through science how it worked. So there's no way he would know unless it was explained.
So yeah, we got 2 free Jenga pulls. Well, free. We got 2 more pulls we could do.
Oh,
Presumably,
not.
we should probably hang out near them during this fight with the Scion monster, just in case.
Right.
If someone goes down, we'll need to potion jump them, because I assume everyone survives the thing. Yeah, we just have to make sure they don't get wiped here. The sequence of events that needs to go down is they all need to survive, and the psionic monster needs to get killed, and then they need to loot some of the corpses. Those are the invariants. As long as we make sure those things happen, it should result in no Jenga pulls.
I mean, I think if you just hang back and don't interfere at all, it should theoretically turn out the same way.
Yeah, I mean, we already have done some interference, but it probably wouldn't be enough to tamper with yet.
If you told them that they had to, even telling them they had to fight a psionic monster might be more likely to cause problems than not.
Yeah.
It might give them more prep, which will make it more likely that they will defeat the thing. It's an anti-Jenga pull. That's how I would argue it anyway.
Except the whole party dies except for Kylenar, so maybe whatever resources they don't expend because they did better against that monster makes them less likely to all die.
It's 4th edition. Next day they'll be back up to full.
What if they drank a potion?
Oh, well, consumables.
Consumed a wand.
I mean, I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it'll be a big deal, but
Yeah, I suspect we're going to be able to just spectate an awesome battle next session.
Yeah.
finally, every GM's dream. You're in complete control of the whole battle.
Yep.
The players just watch.
Look at how awesome this went.
Yeah.
Look at the cinematics.
Well,
do you see the camera work?
We know exactly how it's going to turn out, so yeah.
It's now all in delivery.
Anyway, so I really don't see anything that could possibly go wrong.
Yeah, campaign's really coming to a close.
Oh yeah, it's totally gonna work out.
I anticipate complications.
No. We finished all the complications. Now there's tons of stuff to do after this as well, so I don't think this is the campaign closer.
What's left?
Well, there's Serendipity by Goldstar, Malure, Toppler, Tower, Shepherd's Old Strategy, and Doom Delayer's whole debt thing that she's got to work out.
You guys are high-level adventurers, though. How can money even be an object?
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, but
It's probably now she can afford to pay it off. I think she figured out. Maybe.
It's getting close.
In a very short amount of time, couldn't you just go somewhere or travel through time to a place where there's lots of angry things that need to be punched in the face?
My theory is that the reason that 90% of the magic items were destroyed in the Ood-pocalypse was actually we stole them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you guys just go crash the market
Yeah.
once every eon.
But anyway, yeah.
It's actually a really, really, really funny idea.
So yeah, that it's still something we need to do. It's not something that we can just say, oh, that's all sorted out. We want to at least go and talk with Mr. Longname because it's hilarious. And Cricket really wants the party to go and buy a villa in the Empire of Endless Flowers and retire there. So we got to do that.
Oh yeah, Mr. Thunder Thighs.
I can't imagine that going well either.
No, the Empire is a civilized place.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like slavery and civilization kind of.
There is no
they're
slavery there.
mutually exclusive.
No, slavery is forbidden. It's a high crime.
Yeah, the Great Serpent Queen outlawed it.
Yes.
What was that thing? Oh yes, pain slavery.
That's super duper double outlawed.
Awful.
Yes, it was awful, and that's why we don't do it anymore. We have better things. Yeah, this whole campaign of Cricket has been trying to urge the whole party to just go visit the Empire and see how nice it is, and maybe that will allay your concerns.
We'll see if John actually renders it as a nice place.
We've never been there. Mm-hmm. We've come close.
Well,
I think we're at the closest we've ever been right now.
I'm sure on the surface it's going to be really, really nice.
Yeah,
lots of flowers and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I see it as a very beautiful place.
Oh yeah.
And then you just, you go to visit a neighbor's house and there's, people chained up and getting whipped in the basement. And
nobody needs to get whipped
anymore.
Yeah. If you need to whip your domestic, then clearly they're defective and you should have them sent in or placed under warranty.
Or you're a psycho sadist that just likes doing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which is also illegal.
Is it illegal or is it more just like looked down on?
I thought it was illegal.
It's illegal in the sense of like it's animal abuse,
Yeah, I mean, I guess there might be a fine.
Yeah.
Monsters. It's just monsters. It might be fine.
Well, they see them like animals. So if you're cruel to animals, there's a fine, but it's not jail time.
And you'll be a social pariah.
There are actual jail time crimes for being cruel to animals.
On like a large scale, though.
Well, no, even on a small scale now.
But there's also the social aspect, right?
Yeah.
Like if you found out that someone went home and beat their cat every night, you would think they suck.
Yeah.
So.
Or if that's one bad
And if
cat.
you beat your Roomba, you're just fucking weird.
He's got just a brilliantly vivid image of some guy in a crumpled suit with a glass of rye just laying into a Roomba.
I feel sad for that Roomba now. You never love me anymore. It's tragic.
What is this lint? That's from another home.
I feel like somebody should make a comic about this.
Well, anyway, that's what happened.
Just a foam cord dragged across the ground.
Maybe some of the memories I have of all the chaotic talking over each other is just my dreaded fears, you know.
Is there like
I know it's gonna do this, isn't it?
Is there like domestic mills, like puppy mills? That are like the
That's the Temple of Freedom. Oh, not ill-reputed. No, the Temple of Freedom is where they all come from.
Oh, they like all of them do, just period.
Yeah,
and it's
they're
like a
produced
standardized
there.
breeder with like.
Yeah.
Well, they have
There's a magical
It's
process.
a government controlled.
It's the first.
The first generation is produced through a magical process. It's a magical place. The Temple of Freedom.
But now you could. I mean, potentially now you could start getting into a second generation.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and every once in a while, Aurora goes insane, and she suddenly gets in this mood where she desperately wants a baby satyr because she thinks it would be so adorable. And Cricket will point out, they're very cheap, and suddenly it deflates her.
Yeah, the baby ones.
Yeah, the baby ones are super cheap. You can buy a baby. Nobody wants to buy the baby satyrs. It's all just they get raised in these facilities until they're of a sellable age. It's like And then there was that time when Cricket suggested that, you could just breed me.
Yeah.
And that really took the wind out of Aurora's sails. She was like,
Let's find me a suitable mate.
It doesn't have to be even suitable.
Yeah.
It can literally just be anyone that you find.
9 months later, you'll have a little satyr.
It has to be a satyr.
Yeah.
Their magic exists. Permission becomes a real big gray area.
When I first came into the party's possession, I thought perhaps you might be the one who would understand me the best. We had the most in common. We both knew our place in the world, our important, necessary, irrefutable purpose in life, and we were both cast out from that and left struggling to find it again. Everyone around us keeps telling us we should throw away those important things that define us. I feel so bad for them sometimes, beings who don't have a purpose. I thought you understood, but instead you tried to break me, telling me most stridently of all of them that I should turn my back on what I am. I made every effort to be valuable, but you only wanted the one thing I will never give, so you threw me away. And then you made me face the things that broke you. Well, I didn't break. I may have bent a little, but I can straighten out again, because I still know what I am and what I'm for. It gives me strength, even in these darkest barbarian lands. Maybe you've lost sight of that for yourself, and that's why you can't heal. You have purpose.
So, Krosis, you've been asking, why me? Why you? I don't think that's the right question to ask. I think a better question than why did this happen to you is, why did you, of all of them, survive? And the answer I have to that is so that you can make the world a better place, you can teach the law, you can close the world's wound, you can fix everything.
Krosis, you are an oblin. It is your job to hold the line, to fight chaos and darkness. That's what you're doing. That's why it won't end, because there's still darkness and chaos. It's your job to fight them.
Krosis, you asked why me. The reason you survived was because you helped others. You helped those sprites, and you helped your friends, and then they helped you. Your friends gave their very lives, and with their very hearts, they helped you escape, and then they calmed the chaos. They are left there calming the chaos, making law in a lawless place. And the reason you survived was because Stacia helped you, because you helped her. And now we're here helping each other calm the chaos of this world and make it a safer place for everybody. That's why you, Krosis.
So, Krosis, this isn't your fault. Your friends didn't die because of what you did. You had an impossible task set ahead of you, and you're the only one who survived, and you're the only one who could have made it. And that's absolutely remarkable. You didn't fail because your lack of incompetence. You failed because the task was virtually impossible.
Well, that is such a relief. I have been dreading this conversation with Kalinar for so long, and he's totally fine. He didn't want to redo our relationship at all. He's totally fine with it. I'm so relieved. Oh, that is a weight off my chest. I feel like now, no matter what happens, everything is just gonna be okay.
What happened to not trying to knock over the Towers of Time? Anyone? Any ideas?
So, turns out that Aurora and Kalinar's old party had a certain elf spellblade in their party that shortly before we met their past versions kind of husked and kind of had her soul go somewhere into somewhere else, probably in a mire made somewhere. And that person's name was Dastria, which is kind of me now. So that's interesting. And, I mean, it's exciting, but we gotta be careful with, blurting out random things that might alter past people's memories into their future versions that will break the timeline and, chip away at the pillars of time. But I'm still excited to know about my past. So, yeah, that's cool.
Hello, I'm Krosis. I'm a guardian of Greywall. That's my irrefutable purpose in life. It's my job to hold the line until the chaos is gone, to make law in a lawless place. This is real. It's not a dream. And it's not my fault that my friends died. I failed just because it was so hard. But I survived. I survived because I can fix everything. And I'm gonna. I feel great right now.